Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Kansas City jazz singer Paula Saunders. We caught up with her about her involvement in the Kansas City group The Freedom Affair, garnering national attention as a part of a new Apple ad campaign. She opened up about the release of their new album, Freedom is Love, coming out worldwide on September 25th, 2020, during a time on the planet full of unrest and a pandemic. She is full of energy and wisdom, and she has a lot of great insights into this album, the sudden exposure for the band, this pandemic world, and so much more, along with dreams of that very first live show. Enjoy.
Thank you for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz today. I appreciate it.
Okay.
First and foremost, I have known about the Freedom Affair for a while through, Chris Hazelton and social media. And I know that this is a very highly anticipated release. And there's a lot of things that are going to go into this. Part of it's the pandemic. Part of it is the unrest that's going on and the crossroads we're at here in 2020. So my first question to you is this. How does this album feel coming out during this kind of nexus of our human existence? With everything that's going on, the pandemic taking precedence, how do you all feel about this coming out right now?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a wild time, man. That's all I can say. In an ideal world, with our release on that Apple commercial, the next step would be touring, right? It would be time to promote everything. But with the pandemic, that's not a thing. So it's been a matter of getting creative, finding ways to get the music out there, relying heavily on social media. Fortunately, we've had a really great group of fans who've stuck with us, and they've just been awesome because they continue to support. It's about, finding other ways to make it happen. When the music lives in you, you're going to figure it out. The creative side of creative people really comes out in times like this. When you can't do it conventionally, you get creative. So I think that the album really speaks to the situation. When you mentioned the civil unrest and just the madness known as 2020, the album really speaks to that because, the title is Freedom is Love. And that's what the Freedom Affair is all about. Just love people, man. Like, it seems so simple, right? Like, just love people. And that'll be the key to everything. So I think the album is going to be really influential. I think people are going to find a lot of joy in it, a lot of happiness in it. It just kind of takes you away from the madness that is 2020. It kind of helps you reset because music does that anyway. Music is a universal language that everybody can understand. If the beat feels good, then the beat just feels good. The tune feels good. It doesn't matter. All the other stuff doesn't matter. So I think that the album is going to really have a great impact, and maybe even, not even in spite of, I think maybe even because of how crazy things are right now, the album is going to have an even bigger splash.
Well, music is a soundtrack. I mean, you look at Dylan, you look at John Lennon. I just listened to Imagine tonight for the first time in a long time, and the message is very simple, but it reverberates throughout all of the social constructs that we're living through. I mean, music has always been that tapestry that's been on the backbone. And the beauty of this album, I think, is there's so many people. Obviously, it's so great to have Kansas City on the map. The cover of this is wonderful. There's so many people. I mean, there's so many different genres of music, from full R&B, jazz. I mean, it's like what you're saying is what's actually being captured by the essence of the genres that are being put on this album and the final product. So, the one thing that I want to ask, too, is that it's a pretty big deal. I know that it's not the reason why you make music to have someone like Apple pick you up, but this is a pretty big deal. Talk to me a little bit about this whole thing with Apple and how this is going to really propel what you guys have coming out Friday.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're right. It's not the reason you do it, but it sure is a nice little piece of icing on the cake, to have your creativity put out there for the world to see like that on such a major platform. Like I said, ideally we would have been touring right about now, but since that's not an option, streaming and all that, that's a great gift right now that people can still access our music, by seeing the commercial. I think I checked the views on there. It was up in the millions at this point. It blew my mind, right? We're waiting and watching to see, and when the album drops, we'll just push it some more and just the sky's the limit, I guess. Let's just see what can happen, because I think that with things being the way they are now, people are really turning to the creatives. People are turning to the music to help reset the mindset, help people, stay centered and not lose their minds, So we're hoping to be the platform for that.
From the alpha to the omega of this actual project, what do you want the listener to get from this? What do you want them to ultimately take away from the creative energy you've all put into this project?
That's a good question. So basically, love. Love is at the center of everything. And if you can just find some love in your heart, you'll find that really helps with everything. Like, we're not always going to all get along. We're not always going to agree. But if we can agree on the basic fundamental of just people, and people deserve love, that pretty much helps everything else. If we can just get that part, that's really the message.
So when you do actually finally get to do your show, whenever that may be, and you're in front of a packed house, you've had some time to have this album out, everybody has had a time to recognize you through this commercial, and you get a good crowd. Mm-hmm. What do you want the performers on stage and the audience to feel and to understand about this absence of live music?
Mhm. Yeah. You don't know how much you miss something until you don't have it. It's something for us. Like, we appreciate our fans definitely for coming to our shows, and we feel their energy every time, because we have some really awesome fans. Like, it's wild to watch them sing along with us, and they've learned our songs and stuff. So that's really great. But what they may not know is that we're just as happy to be up here as you all are to be out there listening to us. Like, we are thrilled to share this with you. This is, we write all of our own music. So this is stuff that comes from the heart. We didn't take it from anybody. We mean the stuff we're saying. We sat here and did this together. So we're excited to be here with you, and we want you to feel our energy, and you pass that energy back to us, and we'll just, for this moment in time, we're going to be in this bubble, and everybody's going to be all right. Everything's going to be okay for this amount of time on the stage. And I'm going to tell you, our first show, once all this is over, our first show is going to be something incredible. I cannot wait. Oh, it's going to be mind-blowing. Like, we're going to go for like 8 hours straight or something. Not the band would know that, but that's what I'm saying. I'm putting it out there.
Yeah. Nice. Very nice. Well, hey, Paula, thank you for getting back with me. Thank you for talking about the album. Good luck with it. It's so refreshing to see Kansas City get on the map for music.
Yeah,
I mean, we're such a great musical town, so it's such a great thing, and it's such a great project. So thank you for taking some time out. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest singers in Kansas City and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Paula for her time, music, and stories. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit Neon Jazz at YouTube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to theneonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Together we can find a better way.
Neon Jazz.